Good afternoon. This is Paul talking from candlecharts.com. I wanted to show a quick example today of a bouncing ball setup. Some of you are already familiar with my bouncing ball trade setup. Some of you are not. I wanted to show an example. And in real world, real time, I'm recording this the afternoon, or at least afternoon for me, on July 6th. I'm currently you're looking at a chart, a daily chart. This is the NinjaTrader platform with our Nissen candle scanning software on it. My bouncing ball, real fast, for those that don't know, is a retest of what I call the buying zone of a hammer. The buying zone would be the lower half of the shadow of a hammer. And just to make sure everybody's on the same page, a hammer is a pattern that must follow a downtrend. A hammer shape is a small real body with a real body at the top of the candle with a long lower shadow. The lower shadow must be at least twice the height of the real body, and the real body can either be green or red. And the should really not be any upper shadow, or if anything, a very small upper shadow. So how do I find them? I'm going to show you that real quick. This is a chart of IP on here. This is a daily chart that I'm looking at. Again, I just pulled over my market analyzer, which is the tool that we utilize for scanning for certain criteria inside of NinjaTrader using the Nissen Candle Scanner. So I did a very quick scan today of all of the different stocks in the S&P 500, all 500 of them, and I wanted to know which of them had a hammer on a daily chart in the last 8 days, last 8 trading days. So this will find a list for me. And I can put as many other criteria on there as well, but I just wanted to do a real fast, how many hammers did we get? Remember, a hammer has to follow a downtrend. So with all of the market volatility that we've had in the prior couple of months, obviously we've had a lot of downtrends. Therefore, we should start seeing some hammers. And sure enough, as you can see right here, we did. So this market analyzer found a list of hammers for me. I can go to one by one. I found IP. Okay, and I'm just going to move the market analyzer so that you can see what I'm looking for. I'm just going to blow this up just a little bit. So notice right here, a plus H is the abbreviation for a hammer. And I know that, well, A, because I've been using this for a long time, but B, if I click on it or any other symbol over here on the bottom left of the chart, you'll see it highlights a hammer. Okay, but I already know that a plus H means a hammer. Remember, a hammer has to follow a downtrend. It is a small real body, long lower shadow. Lower shadow has to be at least two times the length of the real body. Okay, so here's our hammer that just happened. Not today. This is the current candle. This is yesterday. And I am looking for a retest. So just to kind of give you the visual, I'm just going to draw in a couple lines. My retest would be, like I said, the lower half of the shadow. Okay, now I can sit there and I can calculate it to the penny, but this is roughly the lower half of the shadow of that hammer. Here's the low, here's about the midpoint of that shadow. Okay, so this becomes my buying zone, meaning I only want to buy in here. And I always get the question, well, why do you only want to buy in there? I want to buy as close to support as I possibly can. Okay, that means I have a lower risk with a higher potential reward. Now, there's a few things to consider on this chart, and I want to make sure I kind of detail some of that for you here, but I want to show you why I highlighted IP. As you saw on my market analyzer real quick, we had a lot of different hammers there, right? So why did I pick IP? First, we had a nice downtrend since we hit the highs back last month. We were up here in the $50 area, and now we're at the low $40 area, right? So we had a nice down move. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you want to buy low and sell high, right? A lot of people kind of forget that. A lot of people get excited and they buy up at the top, and they're buying at a high only to watch their profits go away. I like buying near a support zone. So why do I wait for the retest, and why do I not just buy on the initial hammer? because I want to get as close to that support line as I possibly can. So my bouncing ball literally is, and I'm just going to put on a little spotlight so you can see what I'm talking about. Why do I call it the bouncing ball? I'm going to come down, I'm going to bounce, I'm going to come up, I'm going to retest, and then I'm going to go up again. That's the plan of a bouncing ball. So we had the retest here, we came back down exactly, and I'll show you that again. But my hope is that we come up a little bit, we come back into the buying zone, and then boing. Okay, that's why I call it the bouncing ball. I've been doing this for over a decade. So let me just show you a couple of things that you need to know of why I'm looking at this and why I'm not yet in it. Okay. When I say not yet, that doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to go into it. You have to play it day by day, hour by hour, as far as should you enter or not. But as far as why this is on my current watch list, I'm going to show you right now. First, we have a hammer, we have a support line. Let's take a look at prior support, meaning how strong is this support line right there where the hammer touched? Well, just a little bit over a week ago, we touched. Back here in March, look at our low. Look where we were, right in that buying zone, okay? What I'm going to do now, I'm going to flip to a weekly chart, and let's take a look back. Like I said, back in March, we hit that support zone, and look what we had back in here. We had a support, which became a resistance, and I'll just put my spotlight on again so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here, this was a support line. That support became resistance right there. It became a juncture point right here where we broke through that resistance line. It became a new support right in here, and look at the move we had. If you look back prior, support held as resistance, we got above it, got below it, we retested, we got right back above it, it held, it did not hold up until here, and ever since back here in October, November of last year, it is held as support. It retested again back in March, it retested again a couple of weeks ago, and it is currently testing it again now. So our support line, our support area, I should say, is well established, meaning it's a pretty solid floor of my support, okay? So let's move on to, if you know what your support is, we can certainly identify some resistance, right? Meaning we're going to utilize that to identify our risk-reward ratios. So if you really think about it, there's a couple of things going on. And I'm just going to create a ray here. If you look right here, we have a falling window, which immediately became resistance, and it tested once and twice, and it did fail to get back above that. So that resistance line just under 44 is holding. So why would I want to get in here? I wouldn't. There's a couple of reasons why I wouldn't enter today, but there are reasons why I'm keeping this on my watch list. A, I got my pretty strong resistance line, and there's other resistances above that, but I like looking at what the next area would be. I know where my support line would be, meaning if I entered, I know that my stop would be just below this bottom blue line down in here. But I want to get closer to here. I want to get closer to the $40 mark, not at that $41.50 mark, right? I want my reward to be as high as possible with my risk to be as low as possible. So a couple other reasons why I would not enter today. One, we're already above, or we're slightly above where we closed yesterday, which is great. A hammer means it hit the floor, we're bouncing up. But notice the upper shadow on today's daily chart. Also notice that I have on my chart Bollinger Bands with the middle moving average. We're failed to get back above that line for quite some time now. So even though this is still in a downtrend, we had a hammer, which could definitely be a reversal. I am setting myself up for a potential trade entry with a predefined risk, a predefined potential reward. Now, once you get into the trade, you can certainly manage it. If we get a move back above that line, if we get to that line and fail, there's many different ways to manage that trade. However, again, I would be able to calculate that if I got in, let's say at 40, and my reward was up to 44, that's a $4 reward. I would put a risk or a stop out point just below 40. So my risk reward, or my reward to risk ratio, would be very strong. Now, a couple things have to happen for me to enter. As I've already said, I want to be back in that buying zone. I'd want to see that a intraday candle would be bullish in that buying zone, and I want to have my support and my resistance lines predetermined. It's a great setup. It does not mean I'm actually entering this trade. It means that I am actually looking at it. Now, for those, again, that are not familiar with the bouncing ball, I like finding a retest in days 3 through 8 after the hammer. So if the hammer happened yesterday, today would be candle number 1. So even if we got a retest today, I probably would not enter unless there are other circumstances. Usually I'm looking at candles 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that buying zone, identifying risk reward with my predefined risk and my potential reward. Now, you could enter this with a straight outright stock position. You could do this with calls for options. You could do it multiple different ways. You could also manage the trade differently, meaning you can get in with, let's say, one contract. If you get to a certain point, like let's say you could enter if it comes back down in here, and you enter with one contract. If we get back above that line, you add a second contract. If we get back above that midpoint of the Bollinger Band, you could add more contracts. You could do multiple ways to manage this. But the important thing is using the Nissen Candle Scanner to identify your setups that can help you be profitable. So I wanted to show you this video. I've gotten a lot of questions recently. How to use the candle scanner? How do you take advantage of trading in a volatile market where we've had a lot of down moves? Well, this is the beauty of understanding candles and understanding how to utilize our software. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out. You can go to any of our websites where we have live chats, where you can do a chat with any of our chat agents who are all traders. You can call in or email into our office for any more information. And always check out our library at candlecharts.com/library. Hope that was informative. Hope you are profitable, and please stay safe. We look forward to working with you here at candlecharts.com.